Good evening. Let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever walked away from a conversation with a woman feeling like you gave your all, only to realize later that something was missing? You were polite, accommodating, and agreeable, and yet the connection fell flat. Why is that? The problem is simple. You were nice. And before you misunderstand, I'm not telling you to be rude, dismissive, or inconsiderate, but being nice as a strategy, trying to gain approval through politeness, will only keep you stuck in surface level relationships. Let's talk about what really works. Certainly. Here's the expanded keynote: authenticity over niceness, woven into a motivational, engaging style. When you think about the word nice, what comes to mind? Politeness, pleasant conversations, agreeing with someone to avoid conflict. For many, being nice is often confused with being good. But let me tell you something. Niceness and authenticity rarely coexist. Niceness at its core is a strategy. It's a tool people use to gain approval, avoid tension, and maintain the status quo. But here's the hard truth. Being nice for the sake of being liked isn't real. It's a performance, a role you play in the hopes that someone, anyone, will validate you. And while it might work in the short term, it will never bring you the deep, fulfilling relationships or the respect you're looking for. Authenticity, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. It's about showing up as who you truly are, without the filters, without the masks, and without the fear of rejection. It's about owning your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. And let me tell you, authenticity is infinitely more attractive and powerful than niceness will ever be. So why is this so important when it comes to women? Because women, like anyone else, crave realness. They're drawn to people who stand confidently in their own skin, not those who are trying to mold themselves into what they think someone else wants. Think about it. How can you build a genuine connection with someone if you're not being genuine yourself? You can't. And women are incredibly intuitive. They can sense when you're holding back, when you're agreeing just to agree, or when you're hiding parts of yourself to avoid rocking the boat. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're on a date and the topic of travel comes up. She says, I love the beach. I could sit by the ocean all day. Now, maybe you're not a beach person. Maybe you're more of a mountain hiker, someone who craves the solitude and challenge of a rugged trail. But instead of saying that, you nod along and say, yeah, me too, the beach is great. Why? Because you think that by agreeing, you're increasing your chances of being liked. But here's the problem. You've just denied a part of yourself. You've sacrificed honesty for approval. And even if she doesn't consciously pick up on it, something will feel off. The connection won't be as strong because it's not built on truth. Now, let's flip the script. Imagine you respond with, the beach is nice, but honestly, I'm more of a mountain person. There's just something about the quiet and the challenge of a good hike that I love. What happens then? Sure, she might not share your passion for the mountains, but what you've done is infinitely more valuable. You've shown her who you are. You've been real. And that kind of authenticity is magnetic. It shows confidence, it shows self-awareness, and it invites a deeper, more meaningful conversation. Here's the kicker. Authenticity isn't just about being honest with others. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about knowing your values, your passions, your boundaries, and refusing to compromise them to fit someone else's expectations. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be considerate or open-minded, far from it. It means you stop pretending to be someone you're not, because the moment you start compromising who you are, you've already lost. But let's address the fear, because I know what some of you are thinking. If I show up as my true self, what if I get rejected? What if she doesn't like me? And here's my response. Good. Let her walk away if she doesn't resonate with the real you, because the right people, the ones who matter, the ones you actually want in your life, will be drawn to your authenticity, not your act. Rejection isn't the enemy, inauthenticity is. Every time you hold back your true self out of fear, you're betraying yourself. And over time, that betrayal chips away at your confidence, your self-worth, and your ability to build meaningful connections. So how do you shift from niceness to authenticity? It starts with self-awareness. Take a hard look at the moments when you find yourself holding back or playing it safe. Ask yourself, am I saying this because it's true or because I want to be liked? If it's the latter, challenge yourself to speak your truth, even if it feels uncomfortable. Next, embrace vulnerability. Authenticity isn't about always being strong or having it all figured out. It's about being real. And sometimes that means admitting your fears, your struggles, or your imperfections. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's courage. And when you have the courage to be vulnerable, you give others permission to do the same. Finally, practice consistency. Authenticity isn't something you turn on and off depending on who you're with. It's a way of being. It's showing up as your true self, no matter the situation, no matter the stakes. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't need more nice people, it needs more real people. Women don't want niceness, they want authenticity. And when you have the courage to be authentic, you'll not only build deeper, more fulfilling connections, you'll also experience the kind of respect and admiration that niceness could never earn. Stop being nice, start being real. That's where the magic happens. Absolutely. Here's an expanded version incorporating the second keynote, respect trumps niceness. And the third keynote, nice isn't leadership, combined into a seamless motivational narrative. Let's talk about a dynamic that gets misunderstood all the time. The difference between being nice and being someone who commands respect. Too often, people confuse niceness with strength, with leadership, or with connection. But let's be clear. Niceness is easy. It's surface level. It's the path of least resistance. Respect, on the other hand, is earned. It's built through honesty, consistency, and an unshakable sense of who you are. Now, here's the thing about respect. It doesn't come from saying what someone wants to hear or doing everything to please them. It comes from having the courage to say what you believe, to set boundaries, and to act in alignment with your values. Women, like anyone else, are drawn to that strength. They don't need a pushover or someone who bends to every whim. They need someone who stands firm, who knows their worth, and who values theirs just as much. Respecting a woman doesn't mean agreeing with everything she says or trying to make her life easier by taking on all the burden. Respect means seeing her as an equal, someone with her own strengths, perspectives, and autonomy, and treating her as such. It means being honest, even when the truth might create discomfort. It means being willing to say no, to hold your ground, and to stay true to yourself, even if it means disappointing her in the moment. Because here's what happens when you prioritize niceness over respect. You send the message that your opinions, boundaries, and values aren't important. You teach her that you're willing to sacrifice yourself to avoid conflict. And while that might seem like a noble or selfless thing to do, it actually erodes the foundation of the relationship. Relationships built on niceness are fragile. They crack under pressure because they lack the honesty and strength that respect provides. This brings us to leadership. Leadership isn't about being nice. It's about being decisive, taking responsibility, and showing up with confidence. Women don't need someone who constantly asks, "What do you want me to do?" or someone who hesitates at every turn, hoping not to offend. They want someone who can take initiative, make decisions, and create a sense of direction. But let's be clear about what leadership means in this context. It's not about control, dominance, or imposing your will. It's about creating a partnership where you're willing to take charge when needed while also listening, collaborating, and valuing her input. Leadership isn't a one-sided power dynamic. It's a balance of strength and empathy, confidence and humility. And leadership doesn't mean you have to have all the answers or be perfect. It means you're willing to take risks, to step up when things are uncertain, and to own your mistakes when they happen. It's about having the courage to say, this is what I think we should do, while also being open to feedback and growth. Now, why is this so important? Because nice people don't inspire. Nice people don't create excitement, passion, or trust. Niceness is passive, it's reactive. Leadership, on the other hand, is proactive. It says, I'm here, I've got this, and I'm willing to take the lead. That kind of energy is magnetic. It builds trust, respect, and a sense of security, all of which are essential in any relationship. Let's take a practical example. Imagine you're planning a date. A nice approach might be to ask, what do you want to do? And then agree to whatever she suggests. That sounds considerate, right? But over time, that dynamic gets exhausting because it puts all the responsibility on her shoulders. Now imagine a different approach. You say, I was thinking we could check out this new restaurant I heard about and then maybe go for a walk by the waterfront. What do you think? In that moment, you've taken the lead. You've shown initiative. And even if she has a different preference, the fact that you stepped up and took responsibility changes the energy entirely. Leadership also shows up in how you handle challenges. When something goes wrong, do you panic? Do you look for someone else to blame? Or do you take ownership and find a way forward? Women notice these things. They notice how you respond to stress, how you handle setbacks, and whether you're someone they can rely on when things get tough. And let me tell you, reliability and strength are infinitely more attractive than niceness ever will be. So here's what I want you to take away from this. Stop hiding behind niceness. Stop using it as a way to avoid conflict, to win approval, or to avoid stepping into your power. Instead, focus on respect. Respect for yourself, respect for her, and respect for the relationship. Step into leadership, not as a way to control, but as a way to create clarity, direction, and trust. Because at the end of the day, niceness might make you likable, but respect and leadership will make you someone worth following. And that's the kind of connection that changes everything. Let's cut straight to the point. Being nice isn't getting you where you want to be. Niceness is easy, predictable, and safe. But the truth is, it doesn't inspire respect, it doesn't create real connections, and it doesn't lead to the kind of relationships that fulfill you. If you're stuck in the cycle of trying to be nice to gain approval, you're not being genuine, you're not showing up authentically, and you're certainly not leading with strength. Authenticity is where it all begins. People often wear niceness like a mask, a shield to avoid conflict or rejection. But being nice isn't the same as being good, and it's definitely not the same as being real. When you choose to suppress your opinions or soften your personality just to please someone, you're not being genuine. You're performing. And while you might think that will make you more likable, what it actually does is create a disconnect. Women, like anyone else, can sense when someone isn't being real. They might not be able to articulate it, but they feel it. They sense when you're agreeing just to agree, when you're holding back, and when you're trying too hard to be what you think they want. It comes across as weak, even disingenuous, and that's because it is. Authenticity, on the other hand, is magnetic. It's the courage to say, this is who I am, take it or leave it. Being authentic isn't about being rude or dismissive. It's about showing up with honesty, even if that means you risk rejection. If you disagree with something, say so. If you have a different perspective, share it. Not everyone will like you for it, and that's okay. The right people will respect you, and the wrong ones will filter themselves out. And isn't that what you want? To attract people who value the real you, not some watered-down version of yourself. But authenticity alone isn't enough. It has to be paired with respect. And respect isn't built through endless agreement or by always being agreeable. It's built through honesty, consistency, and having the strength to hold your boundaries. Respect starts with how you treat yourself. If you don't value your own thoughts, opinions, and time, why should anyone else? When you prioritize niceness over respect, you send a clear message. I'm willing to sacrifice my truth to make you comfortable. That might feel like the noble thing to do, but in reality, it diminishes you and weakens the relationship. Respect comes when you're willing to have uncomfortable conversations, when you're willing to say no, and when you're willing to disappoint someone in the moment for the sake of integrity. Women don't want someone who's constantly walking on eggshells to avoid upsetting them. They want someone who treats them as an equal, who values their strength and individuality, and who has the confidence to bring their full self to the table. Respect is about mutual value, recognizing her worth while standing firmly in your own. And then there's leadership, the quality that brings it all together. And leadership isn't about dominance or control. It's about clarity, direction, and strength. Niceness, on the other hand, is passive. It waits for permission, avoids hard decisions, and hopes for approval. But leadership steps forward. It takes initiative. It sets the tone for the relationship and creates a sense of security. When you lead, you're not asking, what should I do every step of the way? You're saying, here's what I think, here's what I'm planning, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. You're creating space for collaboration while showing that you're willing to take responsibility. That kind of energy is magnetic. It inspires trust, builds attraction, and lays the foundation for a strong partnership. So leadership isn't about always being right or having all the answers. It's about being willing to take action, even when things are uncertain. It's about owning your mistakes, learning from them, and showing resilience. Women notice how you handle challenges. They notice whether you crumble under pressure or step up with confidence. Leadership isn't loud or boastful. It's steady, grounded, and focused. And of all primaries, think about this in practical terms. Imagine you're on a date and you're trying to decide what to do. A nice person might say, whatever you want is fine with me, thinking they're being accommodating. But what they're actually doing is shifting all the responsibility onto her. Now imagine a different approach. You say, I was thinking we could grab dinner at this spot I've been wanting to try and then maybe catch a live show. Does that sound good to you? You've taken the lead, shown initiative, and created a plan while still leaving room for her input. That's leadership. Now here's the key. Leadership isn't something you turn on for dates or relationships. It's a way of being. It's about how you show up in every area of your life. Are you proactive or reactive? Do you take responsibility or avoid it? Do you make decisions with confidence or second guess yourself at every turn? Women are drawn to leaders not because they're perfect, but because they're decisive, reliable, and strong in their convictions. So stop hiding behind niceness. Stop using it as a shield or a shortcut to approval. Instead, show up authentically. Build respect by valuing yourself and others. Lead with confidence, not by controlling, but by inspiring trust and direction. Because here's the truth, being nice might make you likable, but being real, respectful, and a leader will make you unforgettable. That's where real connection begins. As we come to the end of this discussion, I want you to take a moment and reflect on everything we've talked about today. Being nice is easy, but it's not what builds meaningful relationships or creates lasting connections. Niceness is passive. It hides the real you and focuses on gaining approval. It's time to let go of the performance and step into your authentic self. Authenticity is the key that unlocks deeper connections. When you show up as the real you, unapologetically, you attract people who value you for who you truly are. Niceness may win temporary approval, but authenticity builds lasting respect. Respect, as we discussed, isn't something that can be faked or forced. It's something you earn by being honest, strong, and true to your own values. And when you combine authenticity with respect, that's when leadership comes into play. Leadership isn't about control. It's about clarity, direction, and decisiveness. It's about creating trust and inspiring confidence. When you lead from a place of authenticity and respect, you'll find that you not only build stronger relationships, but you also become someone people naturally look up to and admire. So stop hiding behind the mask of niceness. It's time to embrace the power of being real, being strong, and stepping into your leadership. Relationships, whether personal or professional, thrive on depth, honesty, and strength. When you show up as your full, authentic self and lead with respect and clarity, you will begin to attract the kind of relationships that truly fulfill you. Remember, being nice might make you liked, but being real, respected, and a leader will make you unforgettable. That's where the magic lies, when you stop being nice and start being the best, most authentic version of yourself.